Good morning and welcome back to What Would It Cost? We're here today with three lovely ladies that are, in our opinion, are at the top of the design and staging industry in the real estate market. Vanessa, Victoria, and Farah. And they're actually the ones that designed the set that we're sitting in today. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. We're excited because we get amazing compliments about the set that was set up for us. So we're happy to have you guys here and, talk about it. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about A Lady's Touch.
All right. A Lady's Touch is a staging and design company in Toronto. We are a full service design and staging company. So essentially, we add value to every property that we get the opportunity to work on by using furniture and accessories to elevate the appeal of the space.
And tell us a little bit about the set you've designed for us here.
The set design for it, for What Would It Cost? Essentially, we wanted something very luxurious, very masculine, and we wanted it to be functional so it can accommodate however many people you decided to have on the podcast. And when we were discussing certain things, I know you guys like black marble, and I know you wanted the blue chairs to tie in the logo. And so your vision for the space, our job was really to just execute it and make it come to life.
Yeah, and it was awesome. You guys hit the nail on the head. Even with the sofa, I love that you mentioned that because one of the episodes we really tested it. We had 4 people on there, and they all fit comfortably. So it was perfect.
Good.
That's good. It was helpful when you came through the warehouse and you sat in a few chairs. So we measured to make sure that whatever we proposed fit what you liked when you were in our space.
Right. And then when working with the clients, so they're selling their home, are you looking to see, okay, what's their taste, or are you looking, okay, what's going to complement the house the best or the room the best to really get that best bang for your buck when you're selling the property?
So it totally depends. When we're staging, we're strictly thinking of the buyer and how to make the property appeal to the masses.
Right.
But when we're designing, everything is catered to the client because it's their home and it's their space, and we need to hear out what they want. But when it's staging, it's strictly what our designers suggest.
Yeah, what complements the home the best.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's, they're not going to be staying there. So
exactly.
Of course,
It's to our discretion because, as you just mentioned, like when you're selling, the home should no longer be considered the sellers.
Exactly.
You're selling for the buyer.
Right.
And so when you hire A Lady's Touch, we go in there, we neutralize the space to make sure that, as Victoria mentioned, it appeals to as many people as possible.
Right.
Which is really, really refreshing that the client and the person that you're working with on the other end gets to put in their 2 cents, and then you guys as the experts really guide them in the right area in regards to what's cutting edge when it comes to design and what will work for the functionality and layout of that specific room, and kind of take it to the next level. But I found that personally working with you guys that it was very refreshing, even when working on the set, right? You guys made it easy and that we were involved in it, right? So we feel good about being involved in it, and our vision came alive. But obviously you guys taking it to the finish line, being the experts in regards to matching what goes with what kind of thing, because that's above and beyond our pay grade, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to talk a little bit about the importance on the staging aspect first for selling the home, because for us, being in the real estate market now, on the financing side, it was a new concept the first time we had met you, and I've heard about it before when we were looking at listings. And you have everybody's take where some people are like, no, leave it open so they could feel and see how it looks for themselves or what they envision. But I strongly am on the staging side, not just because you guys are here, because I think it helps you envision, okay, this is what the room's going to look like, not what maybe my bed's going to fit in here or not. It's like, no, I could see myself living here. So just touch a bit about the importance of that when helping a realtor to sell and market that home.
So you mentioned, there's the idea of an open space and then a stage space. The naked eye can't differentiate between a 12 by 12 room and a 10 by 10 room. Right. The minute you put furniture into the room, it actually appears larger. And when you stage, we're doing everything in very neutral tones. So beige, white, gray. It just gives the room a purpose.
Right.
So if you're walking or you're looking at an MLS photo, for instance, you won't be able to differentiate the dining room from the living room. But the minute you put the table in there, the chairs, the credenza, the artwork, all the accessories, all the pretty things that we do, that's when people are like, I can envision Thanksgiving dinner, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to tug on those heartstrings.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. And do you have sort of say a metric or a number, that it actually helps increase the value of that property?
Absolutely. We were looking at numbers for first quarter, and I think 37% higher than the listing price. Now, those are skewed because a lot of realtors will undervalue the home, and then it goes over asking, right? But we can safely say, according to the stats that are out there, that 70% or even higher, I think now, homes that are staged will sell faster and for more money.
Right.
And we've seen it in our experience where we'll have 2 homes listed, one of them staged. The one that's staged is the one that sells.
Right.
And the vacant home, same exact home, didn't. Yeah. So.
And I remember too, the first conversation that we had was all about perspective. So when people are looking at it and they're looking at it from it's a cost, as opposed to it's an investment, right? I remember as what you had told me, it just really changes the way that you view the service, right? Because if you want to maximize the potential on the yield of that, property being sold, then you want to invest in whatever is going to be able to help you get there. So, once you start looking at it from underneath that lens, I really think that it changes, in regards to how you feel about staging. Right?
It's like if you're going to an interview, you're going to shave, I assume. You're going to brush your teeth. You're going to want to put on a nice shirt if you want the job, right? So your house is being interviewed by several buyers. So put out the best that you can for the house in order to, reap a high ROI.
I also think it's really important that it doesn't feel like potential buyers are walking through your home. Like it shouldn't feel like they're kind of walking through your space or intruding on your home. It should feel like they're walking through their new home, or they can look in the dining room and picture their family eating dinner. Like it's about that emotional connection, and it shouldn't feel like they're intruding.
Like somebody else is living
like
there.
Someone else is living there and they're just walking through the house.
Right? I love that point you make, because you really see that, especially when it's like a rental property. The renters are still there. You're trying to sell the home, and it's like, I don't know, it's like overcrowded, or it's like,
you can tell.
It's like you're intruding, like you said, it's the best way to put it. You're intruding on somebody. So I love that you're giving that fresh look, that modern look, because who knows, it could be Nunna's sofa from 35 years ago. It's good, it's still functional, you're using it, but maybe it's not going to sell as much as exactly, it's not in style. Yeah, absolutely.
Depends if it has the plastic wrap on it.
Then it's still
Take it off and it's another 30 years.
Just need some throw pillows.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And in light of the show, so what would it cost for the staging aspect?
We get this question a lot, and it's so hard to answer because not one property is the same as the last. And the way that we create our staging proposals and our packages is every quote that we send off is different than the last, and it's unique, and it's catered to the property that we're staging.
Right.
So we can't really give a rough ballpark to people that just call. We have to see the space. We have to see how big the rooms are. How much furniture are we bringing? Are we going to be purchasing inventory for this house? What's the caliber of the home that we're going to be in? There's so many different factors. So when somebody asks, I always say, just send me some photos and I can, I just need to see it. Right. As soon as we see it, we know, we get creative, we show it to the designers, the rest of the team, and we can start designing. But until then, it's very hard to give you an exact price.
Right.
I would say that rule of thumb would be to take what we were saying, 1%
of the total value
total value of the house, and think that you would spend that in marketing and staging.
Yeah, as well as like minor upgrades. So if we're looking at a $1 million property, take 1% of $1 million and use that as an investment for preparing the home for sale. That could include painting, lighting upgrades. You make those investments, and then the staging, it's 1% of 1 million is $10,000, but you should be seeing maybe 30, 40, 50,000 of that come back in the sale of your home.
Well, you're looking at that 34 to 37% increase that you're looking at.
You got it.
Spend money to make money.
Absolutely.
That's my favorite line.
Victoria.
When we're packing in the back, and I have the before photos of what it looked like at the consultation prior to painting and the upgrading of the light fixtures, when I walk into the space afterwards, and you can immediately tell. Yeah. It looks like incredible. The difference is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the front end of the business has to do with the aesthetic and really being able to, again, maximize the profit and do a great job with the layout. But even the back of house too, and the way that you guys are running your systems and processes, and your staff that come to work fired up and do a really good job moving these things inside and out. There's a lot of horror stories in the staging industry in regards to, couches bumping into walls and drywall getting damaged and there being, just a lot of stress that comes from that, but your team that's moving it in and out and doing so gracefully and with quick timing, and happy to do it. Looks like that way, every time we see your staff and we see you guys on social media, everyone's fired up to be there. So talk a little bit about the back end too, and how good of a job that that squad does for you guys day in,
Well,
day out.
I feel like we're blessed, just like you guys are. You know, like you have such great people. I think it's the energy that you guys give off. You've attracted a great family to your team, and I think that we can quickly decipher whether or not someone's gonna fit in with our frequency.
Right.
Like we're all about supporting each other, and I think that's part of the reason why we're succeeding in our
100%.
space. Everyone is working towards the same goal.
Right.
You know, we want to help people actualize the value of their property, whether that be in staging or in interior design. And everyone on the team understands what needs to get done in order to do that.
Right.
So I think that that's why we're doing so
awesome.
well.
Yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
guys had mentioned too, there was crews that you had hired that are general contractors or handymen that, God forbid, something did happen. They're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
really,
we're
Because-
fully insured too. The company is fully insured. So
Right.
God forbid, forget a little nick in the wall. What if the house was to get robbed or
Right.
there was a fire or flood in the States,
Right.
We are fully insured. And I think that because we run the company like a company, it's a great investment to invest in ALT.
Right.
So we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we're going to be talking about the cost of designing your dream home.
We take care of everything. Well, almost everything. Our mortgage agents are dedicated to propelling your financial goals. Spark Financial Group, where finance creates freedom.
Welcome back to What Would It Cost? We're sitting here with the ladies from A Lady's Touch, and we're talking all things staging and interior design. So now that we staged the perfect home, we bought our own, and we want to make it our own. Take us through that process.
Our interior design process is made up of 4 phases. So the first one is the consultation or the initial interview. And that's where we would sit down with our clients and we would go over your project objective, the scope of the work, what the space is being used for, budget, timeline, all of that kind of stuff. And
Right.
once the design direction is kind of established, we would move into phase 2. And phase 2 would be sourcing and conceptualization. So that's where we kind of curate a presentation for our clients' review, where we're essentially just reflecting everything from phase 1 into existence. So we're sourcing, we're picking the perfect pieces
Right.
and piecing them together for the final presentation. And once that is reviewed by the client and approved, that moves us into phase 3. So that would be ordering and project management.
Okay.
And not only do we source and order, but we also take care of the behind the scenes. So we save the client time, money, and energy on having to go pick up packages or accept deliveries, unboxing, assembling, garbage disposal, and on top of that, we hold the furniture until it's time for the installation.
Right.
So once all of the pieces are in and they're all okay, we move into the 4th phase, which is just delivery and installation.
Amazing.
And that's just loading the LT trucks and getting it to the
Getting
site
on
and
our way.
offloading it. Yeah. In the
awesome.
simplest of terms, that's
But then on top of that as well, if I want to, renovate the washroom, because it's like, okay, you guys show me this design, but maybe this room's outdated wallpaper wise, or it has wallpaper you want to rip out.
Of course. So that would be a part of phase 2 where we kind of share our ideas. And if that branches off into taking them to see some samples, taking them to a showroom, then that's where that design direction goes.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome because that's what we find is like, in today's world, everybody's looking for that one-stop shop. I want to come to you, point me to the experts, not that, okay, now I got to go find the electrician, the plumber,
Right.
painter, whatever it may be. So yeah, that's awesome you guys have that. And now take us through the cost. So is there the consultation fee? Each stage, does it have a cost associated to it? How's that
It
laid out?
does. There is a consultation fee.
Okay.
And then in phase 2, we will provide you with like an estimate on how many hours we would assume this project would take.
Right.
And so then, if we say it's going to take 20 hours or 30 hours, that would be multiplied by our hourly rate.
Right.
And then once that's agreed on, phase 3, where we take on the project management, is offered at an admin fee. So we say if you're purchasing $50,000 worth of furniture, then our fee to manage the project would be 15%
Right.
of whatever that is. One thing that I want to discuss is we also have huge trade discounts where our
Yes.
clients are able to take advantage of our discount, which actually offsets the design fees that we're charging. And then the last phase is a delivery fee. So at each phase there is a charge associated to it, but when you subtract our trade discounts from the total of our fees, it actually does offset a lot of the design fees.
Yeah, it's awesome. They say it makes sense for them saying that, again, using that one-stop shop.
Yes.
You're getting that overall, you're spending money to save money.
Exactly.
Exactly.
People might make like design mistakes, the costly design mistakes that you avoid when you enlist a designer to come and help you. So we save them a lot of time and a lot of money.
And a lot of energy.
A lot of energy, yeah.
Plus the talent, like it's not just one eye that's looking at a project. Like you have a team of designers that are inspired by things, and then we all sit together and we put our heads together to create a masterpiece for you.
Exactly.
Every home has a little bit of like every team member.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And in regards to like the furniture side of it, so I remember having discussions with you, Far, in specific about sometimes they love all the time they love what you guys do, but sometimes they love the furniture pieces so much that they're just like, just leave it there, and like we want it, so how does you just,
we sell it.
we'll sell
Want
it.
it? No problem.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. It allows us to refresh our inventory, which we do all the time as well. But if someone loves what we've provided, we sell.
That's happened to us like quite a few times.
Yes.
Well, I love that, and that's what I love about you guys, because I have a funny story for that. Is that you're actually putting real furniture in when you're staging? Because I remember I was seeing a property. The realtor went to go sit down on the sofa so we could discuss before we left the property, and it was a cardboard box with a tarp.
What?
But it looked like a sofa.
My God.
So the cushions were cardboard boxes with cushion covers.
Oh no,
that's bad.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times.
That's bad. I thought you were going to say a
So-
bed. I've fallen through a few air mattresses.
We don't
it was
do
like-
air mattresses
It
anymore.
was,
No.
it was like those sectional sofas. So it was like, okay, this nice little L-shaped sofa, and again,
it looked real?
It looked perfect. I'll be honest, it looked pretty good. But he sat down and he went right through the
Oh
sofa.
my
I have to see
goodness.
this.
Yeah, I would love
Not
to
that
see
we would
that.
ever do that, but
But
that's
that's why, and
interesting.
that's why I'm saying that's why I love about you guys, because it has those cheesy touches. I've seen ones where it's like the fake TV and this is fake and that's fake. And to go to your point, you want to sell that home to them and want to make it feel homey. Well, it's not homey if it's a cardboard sofa.
They're falling through the sofa, yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's something that makes ALT stand out from some of the competitors, is that where we source our staged furniture from is exactly where we source our interior design furniture from.
Yes.
They're not different. It's the same.
Yeah.
So when we're coming and we're installing a stage, it's designed essentially. So when people ask to buy it, you can have it because it's ready to go furniture.
Exactly.
It's
Right.
from all of our luxury suppliers.
It's not like staging
It's not
furniture,
staging furniture.
Right.
And I think that's something that separates ALT from the competition.
Yeah.
And what do you guys, so now you guys are always cutting edge with the design. You're staying on what's trend. You're staying on what's popping on a global scale, and you're bringing that, and you try to continue to set the bar higher and higher. Where do you get a lot of your inspiration from? What areas of the world do you feel you pick from? And like, what kind of due diligence period do you guys go through ongoing, as that's forever changing? Like, how does that start to look? Because it's a whole animal in its own, right? Being on top of that. So would love to know.
For myself personally, I'm always looking at design. So everyone that I follow on Instagram, Pinterest, other designers, all of that kind of stuff, you can see where the trend is going. And we also write a write-up for like the color of the year and all, like design trends.
We try to create our own sort of look that we like to put out in our work, but we also like to predict what's going to come out so we can be the first to do it. Like, I think we were doing organic. The minute Victoria joined, you were talking
She really
about
likes
campus,
that look, yeah.
Like the minute you joined, and now it's everywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when you're just constantly looking at design, you know what's coming out.
You can kind of see it.
And we all have different styles that we dig, which is fun. But it's nice because we're open to like different suggestions from one another. And then together we put all of our little quirks in to create an ALT look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So it's very custom, very
It
very
is.
one-off
Very custom.
piece.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we get inspired by so many different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a design company in New York City that I'm obsessed with. I've been obsessed with, and definitely a lot of inspiration comes from there. But yeah, all over the world.
Yeah.
Like even if we're in hotels,
You look at something, you see it, you like it, take a picture. How can I recreate this? How can we make it better?
Yeah.
You guys were at a lobby in a condo or something. I remember you took a photo of it, and we were trying to decide how do we accessorize these bookshelves.
Yeah.
And it was that photo that you took that made us do that. So everywhere we go, we're looking at the architecture of the space.
For sure. Love that. Have you ever had a client where they gave you their vision, their dream, and you just said like, no, that's too gaudy, or I want to hear that, or you just go with the flow with it? Given everybody has their own design touch to it. So there's times where I've had it where I give my opinion, someone else gives theirs. Like,
you know what?
That's a yes.
I think. No, but hang on. I think a good designer will take what the client wants, understand it, and then just bring it back to how can we give them what they've asked for, but also still make it relevant and timeless
and elevated.
So I think that a good designer will just understand and know that. But yeah, if something's a solid no, I mean, I might have to give you that advice too.
I'm like, we've walked through suppliers with clients, and they're hiring us to be there. So they'll point something out, and I'll be like, walk away. That's not it. You want us to be honest, right?
For sure. Well, that's the reason we're using the pro.
Yeah.
Right. And I think someone that starts to work with you guys has been heavily referred. They've seen you on the socials. They understand what your capabilities are, so they're already entering the room with that level of trust, where they're kind of move and shake, right? Yeah. But we'd still love to hear a funny story.
Yeah.
No.
I think design aside, we understand that when it comes to business, we cater everything to the client. Like I'm more concerned about making sure the client is 110% happy than anything else. And I know that you just finished a project that was outside your comfort zone too, because it incorporated like some really old textiles, like the gold and things like that.
No, that project was actually really, because she had very pastel blue and green colors. I'm normally drawn to more neutral colors like beige, white, that kind of stuff. So, but it was exciting. Yeah. She was so nice. We made it work, of course. Yeah. I think it's just taking what the client wants, even if it's not your style, it's not your home, and just executing it the most tasteful way possible.
Absolutely.
No job's too small, no job's too big. You guys are doing stuff with big developers and builders, and then you guys for smaller size condos, and then you guys are going into big boy mansions, right? So how does that look like from a design perspective? Do you guys take the whole space and reinvent it? Is there a proportion breakdown on the room? Or
I think that we, in terms of like design, from a design standpoint, I think that we take, whether it's a small project like a condo or a mansion, we provide the same level of service quality throughout, like from start to finish. If we're staging 500 square feet or 5,000 square feet, it's going to be the same exact furniture, just on a bigger or smaller scale. So we're always providing luxury staging and design, no matter how big or small the space is.
And we are working with, thank God that we're working with some really reputable developers who are trusting us now to design their model homes, or, big developers in the pre-construction space who are looking at us to come up with incentives for investors to look at their condos. We're putting design packages together for condo units that might be less desirable to purchase at first. So now builders can say, hey, you can purchase it vacant, but you can also purchase it furnished, right? So that's great too. And in design, sky's really the limit, because there's so many avenues that we can go into commercial, which we've done, residential, hotels. We don't want to just stay here in Toronto, Nick, Mike, we have dreams of going to the States and nationally. So there's just so much that we could do. I'm just so grateful.
That's amazing.
For the audience out there, in regards to them wanting to get into the business, having a big passion for design, and just thinking that they got a solid taste for that world, what advice do you have for them in guiding them into getting into the industry?
Get into the industry.
No, they should absolutely get into the industry. I think that as we start to meet new talent and new people, you start to realize that some things can't be not taught. That's the wrong word, but people have. It's either you have it or you don't. And that sounds bad, but you can tell when someone has
innate ability.
Right. right?
And they're really looking at it like a passion. Because
Right.
here's the advice I would give. A lot of people get into anything and they're like, how much money am I going to make? How much money am I going to make? And I have to say, like, it's the analogy, you can't get fire unless you put wood in the fireplace first.
Right.
You know,
that.
so be of service. Always put the other person's needs before your own. And then you see the gates open. You know, so if you're passionate about design, don't worry about the money. Worry about putting out the best product, the best art that you can, and then people will notice, and that will lead to
Right.
And if you're so passionate about it, it won't feel like work.
right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I love getting up in the morning and coming into work. Like, I don't know a lot of people who can say that, you know, and I think it has a lot to do with my beautiful staff, obviously. My team's incredible. The movers, everyone, is just the energy, and like, we're all passionate about what we do. So every time we have a project coming up, like, you should have seen Victoria the other day. She made sure that we did this design today. And even I looked at her like, no, man, like, this isn't, we're doing it. And you know, it's a beautiful property. You know, and it's just that you know, you feed off that. Now I'm fired up, you know, and so is she, and so I think when it comes to passion, like, you can tell whether or not someone's there because they are looking to make money, or they're there because they actually love everything that we're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think in order to be successful in anything, you have to really love what you're doing.
Right.
Absolutely.
And talking about, you know, the vision and the growth, what is next that you could share a little bit about?
I don't want to sound arrogant. You know, we are always putting our best foot forward in design, and I think it's eventually going to get noticed in a way where we can showcase it on a platform that could teach our audience how to add value to their space.
Right.
Through our design techniques. So yeah, we're pitching Netflix, we're pitching HGTV, we're constantly in talks with producers for a show, not just to educate the people, but to show them how much work and how many fires we put out on a daily basis. We are problem solvers constantly. You should have seen us today. You should see us any day. You know, we're always solving problems, and I think that that's a story in its own. So we're definitely working towards that. We're looking to expand operations in the West Coast, the East Coast, the South. You know, we think that we have a process that we can create in a different market. And so, yeah, that's good. That's also something that we're working aggressively towards.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us today. We know how busy you guys are. You know, Victoria's going to go back to cracking the whip on you guys. So, we appreciate you, you know, sharing your knowledge and insight with our viewers. And thanks again for tuning to this week's episode. We'll see you next week. Coming up on What Would It Cost?
We get homeowners money back from the government when they build a brand new house, major renovation. We are basically a one-stop shop for all of the rebates that a homeowner is entitled to when they embark on a very large construction project.
Awesome. And Heavy Duty Homes, tell us a bit about that.
Heavy Duty Homes, we typically just do large-scale renovations and custom home builds, and now we're starting to dip into developments, and we feel like we've kind of defeated Toronto a little bit, so we're growing into the U.S.
Awesome, love that. So on the primary residence, what's that maximum amount you could get?
So on a primary residence, when you are either building a brand new home, gutting your existing home, or building an addition to your home, the max rebate is $16,080.
Okay.
And then once the client spent $300,000 on construction. If he did not spend $300,000, let's say he spent only $150,000, he gets about $8,000 to $10,000 back, but they can still claim the rebate. Right. If they spend well over $300,000, they obviously qualify, but the cap of the rebate is $16,080.
Rental costs are now what new build costs were for custom homes 2 years ago. Okay. So now we're $300-400 a square foot for rental, where rental used to be $150 to $200.
Wow.